From high atop the battlements of Castle Curmudgeon, where you'll need to stow your trade tables and have your vomit bags ready, because we're going to do a lot of air miles in the next 20 minutes. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. Welcome to the Blast Radius. Glad to have you with us tonight. And the genesis of this week's monologue is a question that somebody, I can't remember if it was Lady Curmudgeon or Daughter Curmudgeon, but it was a question they asked as we were all sitting around watching the ball game on Friday night. And the question was, why are the Athletics called the Athletics? So I proceeded to explain that the Athletics are called the Athletics because they used to represent the Philadelphia Athletic Club. And as that turns out, I didn't have that part quite right, because back in 1901, when Connie Mack chose the name Philadelphia Athletics, he was actually paying homage to an earlier team from the 1870s that did represent the old Philadelphia Athletic Club, which no longer existed by the turn of the 20th century. So you might say it's an early example of what we today would call retro sports branding, designed to parlay public nostalgia into physical attendance. But that's not important now. The important thing is, I was then obliged to tell the story of the journey that took the Athletics from Philadelphia to Kansas City, to Oakland, and then to the homeless interlopers who currently play in a AAA ballpark in Sacramento. And consequent to that story, since the Athletics moved from KC to Oakland in 1968, was the story of Major League Baseball on the West Coast in general, whose history only began a decade earlier in 1958, when the Giants and the Dodgers both told New York City to fuck off and duly relocated to San Francisco and Los Angeles, respectively. And for those first 10 years, the Giants and the Dodgers were the only major league clubs west of St. Louis. And there were no such things as an Eastern Division and a Western Division back in those days, so cross-country plane rides suddenly became a fixture of our national pastime in a way they never had been before. This arrangement persists until the aforementioned year of 1968, when the powers that be decided, here's what we're going to do. We'll add 2 expansion teams in each league. That'll bring us up to 24 teams, 12 in the National, 12 in the American. We'll split each of those into a 6-team Eastern Division and a 6-team Western Division. Out of the 69 expansion, 4 new teams are born. The Montreal Expos and our very own San Diego Padres in the National League, and in the American League, the Seattle Pilots and the Kansas City Royals. So this all worked out pretty well for Kansas City, you have to say, because the Athletics fucked off and bailed for Oakland in 68, and by the very next year, they already had a brand new replacement club. The number of teams on the West Coast has now increased from 2 up to 5, but it only remains 5 for a single year because the Seattle Pilots fucked off and bailed to Milwaukee to become the Brewers, which is one of the very few west to east franchise relocations in MLB history. So the new status quo is we've got 24 teams in total, but only 4 of them are west of the Mississippi, and we need to come up with a couple of 6-team Western divisions, which means you're going to need to make a few geographic compromises. You're going to have to stick some teams in the Western Division that are most decidedly not in the western half of the country. Now, in the National League, when you look at the map, it seems like it should be a fairly simple matter. You've got the 3 California teams, so why not take the 3 remaining westernmost teams and use them to fill out the Western Division? That means Houston, St. Louis, and Chicago. Houston, they were fine with it, and they've only existed for 4 years at this point anyway, so they don't even get to have an opinion. But the Cubs and the Cardinals, they said, nah, that doesn't work for us, brother. The Cubs and the Cardinals were mortified at the prospect that half of their divisional road games might start at 9 o'clock in the evening back at home, and they might lose TV ratings accordingly. And since those 2 clubs wielded a lot of influence with the league office, they were able to say, nope, we ain't doing it. You got to make somebody else do it. And so then was born a version of the National League West that included, for the next quarter century, the Cincinnati Reds and the Atlanta Braves. Daughter Curmudgeon was surprised to learn all of this because I think we can all agree, as interdivisional road trips go, San Diego to Atlanta is on the longer side of things. But by this time, my little content creator wheels in my brain were well and truly spinning, and I start thinking, you know what? I wonder what the 10 most brutal domestic road trips in all of world sports might be. In fact, I think there might be a monologue in there somewhere. And so here we are. But before I unleashed the Blast Radius research team to go about their work, it occurred to me that we're going to need some constraints and some guardrails on this thing, because let's face it, if we draw up this list according to sheer distance and sheer miserableness of air travel, the Russians are going to take all 10 spots. And if the Russians take all 10 spots, that means a bunch of Ukrainiac troll bots are going to parachute into the chat and start talking a bunch of shit. And nobody wants that. So the constraints are as follows. Number one, Russia is limited to just one ultimate entry representing their absolute worst trip. And spoiler alert, yes, of course, naturally, it's number one. Number two, the teams must play each other at least twice a year in normal league competition. This eliminates one-off cup matchups in remote villages and other such anomalous occurrences. Number three, standard holiday flights to tropical islands, like, for example, Paris to Reunion Island in the French Soccer League, do not count just because they cover a long distance. And number four, to reiterate, the trip must be internal domestic travel within a single nation's league system. So no international competitions whatsoever. And with that very extensive preamble having been dispensed with, we submit here for your kind consideration, Curmudgeon's Field Guide to Sadistic Domestic Sports Travel. Number 10, Major League Baseball. Seattle Mariners to Miami Marlins. The route takes you from Seattle Tacoma International Airport to Miami International Airport. The distance of 2,724 miles, 4 time zones, and a 5.5-hour flight time. Now, the absolute longest possible non-divisional road trip in Major League Baseball history is this one right here. When the Miami Marlins, or the Florida Marlins as they were then, entered the league via the 1993 expansion, MLB schedulers gleefully paired them with the Seattle Mariners for interleague play. Because Seattle is historically isolated in the Pacific Northwest, a leftover quirk from the old Pacific Coast League days, they already led the major leagues in annual travel distance by a wide margin. This cross-continental trek requires a standard 737 charter to skirt the jet stream over the Great Plains, usually burning roughly 4,000 gallons of jet fuel just to get swept in a humid midweek 3-game series. Number 9, Super Rugby, Perth to Auckland, Western Force versus Blues. The route is from Perth Airport to Auckland Airport, 3,322 miles, 4 to 5 time zones, depending on daylight savings, and a 6.5-hour flight time. Super Rugby, what is Super Rugby? Who cares? It was formed in 1996 to unite the powerhouse Southern Hemisphere nations of South Africa, New Zealand, and Australia. When the Western Force was founded in Perth in 2004, the Australian Rugby Union completely ignored the reality of the Indian Ocean's vastness. Perth is famously the most isolated continental capital city on Earth. Flying from Western Australia across the Tasman Sea to face the Blues in Auckland takes longer than it does to fly from London to New York. The flight paths cut directly across the desolate Great Australian Bight, exposing players to notorious turbulence before dumping them in a Kiwi stadium half a world away. Number 8, Canadian Premier League, Pacific FC to Halifax Wanderers. From Victoria International Airport to Halifax Stanfield Airport, 2,773 miles, 4 time zones, 11.5 hours total travel time. Founded in 2019 to foster domestic Canadian soccer talent, the Canadian Premier League immediately created lots of logistical nightmares. Based on Vancouver Island, Pacific FC has to travel to Nova Scotia to play the Halifax Wanderers. Because Canada's commercial aviation infrastructure heavily filters through hubs like Toronto Pearson and Montreal Trudeau, there are no direct commercial flights connecting these two extreme outposts. Players have to endure a multi-leg, budget-conscious transit marathon. They catch a ferry or a turboprop plane off the island, endure lengthy airport layovers, a few of them, and arrive on the Atlantic coast with severe leg cramps just in time to play a second division match in front of a few thousand shivering fans. Number 7, the NCAA. Cal or Stanford, take your pick, to Miami. In the ACC, the route, San Francisco International to Miami International, 2,580 miles, 3 time zones, 5.5-hour flight time. Now, born out of the chaotic 2024 collapse of the Pac-12 conference, university administrators prioritized media rights payouts over basic human geometry, placing, bizarrely, California schools into the Atlantic Coast Conference. The resulting aviation patterns defy all academic logic. Unlike the football teams that enjoy private luxury charters, the soccer, volleyball, and softball teams are subjected to commercial airline scheduling. Nothing says amateur student-athlete education quite like a Stanford sophomore studying organic chemistry in a middle seat over Nebraska at 2 o'clock in the morning because they had to play a Tuesday night game in Miami. They endure red-eye flights over the American heartland, landing at dawn with heavy eyelids and an exam waiting for them on Thursday morning. Number 6, Brazil, Serie A. Fortaleza to Internacional de Porto Alegre. The route from Pinto Martins International Airport to Salgado Filho International Airport, a distance of 2,010 miles, same time zone, 4.5-hour flight time. Brazil is a geographic behemoth, as you may know, that spans across the equator, creating a brutal climate gauntlet for its top-flight football league. Fortaleza sits just 3 degrees south of the equator, sweltering in tropical 90% humidity all the year round. Conversely, Sport Club Internacional plays in Porto Alegre, deep in the southern Pampas, bordering Uruguay. When Fortaleza travels south in July, players leave a tropical beach climate and land in a frosty wind-whipped rainstorm where temperatures hover near freezing. The aviation route follows the Atlantic coastline, slicing through erratic tropical storm cells, presenting an environmental and physical shock that destroys the legs of even the most well-conditioned athletes. Number 5, the Australian A-League. Perth Glory to Wellington Phoenix. You really got to work on those team names, guys. We're going from Perth Airport to Wellington International, 3,263 miles, 5 time zones, 7.5-hour flight time. Officially dubbed the Distance Derby by the A-League, this fixture represents the single longest regular domestic top-tier soccer trip on the entire planet. Because the New Zealand-based Wellington Phoenix play under the Australian football umbrella, this is, legally speaking, a standard home and away league fixture. Wellington's airport is world famous for its terrifying wind-sheared landings caused by the Cook Strait. Perth and Wellington are so far apart, they don't even share the same season. You can leave Perth in the middle of a scorching summer day and land in New Zealand in a torrential autumn downpour, all for 3 points in some shitty domestic league. Number 4, a China Super League. Changchun Yatai to Shenzhen FC. The route is from Changchun Longjia to Shenzhen Baoan Airport, 1,812 miles, same time zone, but a 4.5-hour flight time. The Chinese Super League's map reflects the vast industrial scale of the country. Changchun Yatai is located in the far northeastern Rust Belt of Manchuria, where winters are dominated by Siberian winds and temperatures that regularly drop to 40 degrees below zero. Shenzhen FC sits on the subtropical southern border right next to Hong Kong. Because China uses a single unified national time zone, players do not face jet lag, but they do face massive atmospheric disruption. Teams routinely board an aircraft surrounded by piles of plowed snow, fly over the entire Yellow River Basin, and step off the plane into a stifling monsoonal heat wave that leaves them completely suffocated by the time of the opening kickoff. Number 3, Copa del Rey in Spain. CD Tenerife to any of the mainland teams, basically. You're only looking at about 1,300 miles here, but they're 1,300 rough miles and a 3.5-hour flight time. And here's the data for you. Geographically, the Canary Islands sit firmly on the African tectonic plate off the coast of Morocco, but politically, they are a constituent part of Spain. When the domestic cup tournament draws a matchup between Club Deportivo Tenerife and any of the northern mainland clubs, it sets off quite the aviation nightmare. Tenerife North Airport is notorious in aviation history for its heavy, low-lying cloud cover and sudden sea fogs. Mainland teams must fly over the open Atlantic, combating volatile oceanic crosswinds, only to trade the beautiful Canary sunshine for a muddy, rain-slicked pitch in the mountainous Basque Country or in Asturias, thoroughly questioning the geographic definitions of European football. Number 2, the USL Championship, Miami FC to Orange County SC. The route from Miami International Airport to John Wayne Airport in Santa Ana, 2,310 miles, 3 time zones, 5.5-hour flight time. The ultimate example of major league geography on a minor league budget. The United Soccer League, the USL to its friends, operates as the second tier of American pro soccer, meaning these clubs do not possess the multi-million-dollar private luxury charter planes found in the MLS or the NFL. When Miami FC draws a cross-country away day against Orange County, the players are booked on standard commercial flights. These 6'2" professional athletes find themselves crammed into economy middle seats next to crying infants and vacationing tourists. They face a 3-hour time zone loss going east, connecting through congested hubs and arriving with stiff lower backs just in time to play in a mostly empty, tiny suburban stadium. And number 1, you knew it was coming. The Russia First League, Baltika Kaliningrad to SKA Khabarovsk. The route from Khabrovo Airport to Khabarovsk-Novy Airport, 4,362 miles, if you can believe it, 8 time zones, and a 9.5-hour flight time. This is the undisputed, terrifying, absolute monarch of sports travel misery. Baltika Kaliningrad is situated in an isolated Russian Baltic enclave completely surrounded by Poland, Lithuania, and the European Union. SKA Khabarovsk is located in the Russian Far East, sitting a mere 19 miles from the Chinese border. To play this domestic second-tier league match, teams must fly a distance longer than a transatlantic flight from New York to London, all while dodging severe sub-zero Siberian airspace storms. This is not an away game. It's more of a geopolitical expedition. By the time the players clear 8 time zones, their internal clocks are so broken they don't know if they're eating breakfast or about to start playing the second half. But in order to fully understand this, when you have to tell the story of why there is a little detached chunk of Russia sitting on the Baltic coast surrounded by countries that are not Russia. And the story, as these things so often do, begins in the aftermath of the First World War, when present-day Kaliningrad was called Königsberg, and as the name suggests, it was a very German city and the seat of the kings of Prussia for many hundreds of years prior to German unification in 1871. When the architects of the Versailles Treaty were establishing the new nation-state of Poland, the Poles said, damn it, we want ourselves a seaport, and the only way to give them a seaport was to bisect German territory and establish what came to be known as the Polish Corridor, which caused Königsberg to become an exclave that wasn't territorially connected any longer with the rest of Germany. Fast forward to 1945, the Red Army is overrunning eastern Germany, including Königsberg, and since Königsberg is the former seat of the kings of Prussia, Stalin decides that he wants to turn this former German royal capital into a monument to the glories of Soviet communism. And as part of the post-war settlement, he says the rest of Germany can go back to being Germany, but not Königsberg, because I am keeping that. First thing on the agenda was to change the name to something suitably Russian, so it duly became Kaliningrad. Next thing on the agenda was to dynamite Königsberg Castle and reduce it to rubble. And finally, we need to expel any Germans that remain in residence and replace them with some Russian transplants. As a result of all this, today, Kaliningrad/Königsberg is one of the most interesting, but also the most culturally incoherent cities on the face of the earth. It's a place where if you walk a mile in any direction, you will see remnants of the Prussian royal period and remnants of the early German Confederation and German remnants of the First World War and its aftermath, suddenly giving way to remnants of post-Second World War Soviet communism and the post-Soviet Russian Federation that supplanted it and controls the place to the present day. I feel confident in saying it's probably the only city on earth where lots of Russians live on streets that still carry the names of German kaisers and kings and princelings and dukes. Needless to say, next time you're in the mood for watching a weird European travelogue video on YouTube, that is a good place to start. But it is also where our journey ends for this week. And I told you we were covering a lot of air miles. I think it was around 26,000 in total. We began in San Diego, wound up in Russia. We touched just about every other populated continent in between, didn't we? Yeah, even Africa, because Tenerife was on the list. So here's a big shout out to our Crack Blast Radius research staff for another job well done. Anyway, that is all I've got. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen, as ever, for your kind attention. I now convey you into the loving embrace of my distinguished colleague, your illustrious co-host, the one and only, your friend and mine, Mr. Caucasian Sasquatch.
Tactical nuke incoming!
Can you believe it, boys and girls? They missed again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Blast Radius. And Captain Curmudgeon is angry with Hollywood again. What could possibly those guys have gotten up to this time? Cap, are you here to spill the beans?
I give them such an irrationally hard time. I don't know how anyone tolerates it, but we have a lot of dunking to do this week. I think we have a little bit of self-congratulation. I think we're entitled to engage in for the new Star Wars movie is out. And our predictions about how it was going to fare at the box office seem to have been rather wildly vindicated. I wasn't really expecting it to get no help from the critics, who normally, fall all over each other to praise Disney Star Wars products, no matter how god-awful they are. But it seems now even that goodwill has run out, and I guess now it is an appropriate time to start writing the post-mortem on the Kathy Kennedy era at Disney Star Wars, since obviously this is the last product that was conceived and produced under her leadership. And what an appropriate epitaph it is, going down in absolute humiliating failure, having hollowed out the brand and wrecked it just about as badly as a formerly beloved brand can be wrecked. But although we do need to do a bit of dunking on that, there is other dunking that we need to do this evening, ladies and gentlemen. We need to dunk on Steve Colbert, because who doesn't love dunking on Steve Colbert? If you haven't seen that video of Trump dumping Colbert.
I'm a fan of low-hanging fruit.
If you haven't seen the video of Trump dumping Colbert into a trash dumpster, it's chef's kiss. That's why AI is a wonderful thing. Videos just like that. Anyway, if you haven't seen it yet, do watch it. Maybe we'll show it to you if you haven't seen it. I could watch it 1,000 times myself. It's the sort of thing that really never gets old. And it's the sort of thing, when I see it, it makes me say, I really love my president sometimes. We also, I think, need to dunk on Christopher Nolan a little bit, because as you may know, there is a bit of a kerfuffle over the latest instance of racial stunt casting in his upcoming adaptation of The Odyssey, where we have a black Helen of Troy and a girl Achilles. And what else do we have? I think there's more racial stunt casting involved, but they do these racial stunt casting things for extra attention, because why else would you do it? And they get so very offended when the attention is not the type of attention they wish to receive. And in this case, the case of The Odyssey, I think the problem stems from the fact that this isn't an actual adaptation of the works of Homer. It is an adaptation of a woke sort of retranslation of the work that was done about 10 years ago.
Reimagining. It was already a woke reimagining before they got a hold of this script. So
done by some purple-haired female, probably a former gender studies major. And so yeah, that's your source material. Your source material is something that is bastardized already. So why not bastardize it more, I guess? What say you?
Well, I was of the opinion that when they did The Wheel of Time, that The Wheel of Time was already so woke and so gynocentric that they couldn't possibly do it any damage. And boy, they showed me.
And
they showed me, but good.
Yeah, that's kind of the same thing I just mentioned to you backstage about. Full disclosure, folks, I forced myself to watch an entire episode of Starfleet Academy, which is the show they made when they decided the other new Star Trek shows just weren't nearly woke enough. And yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. Believe me, if you haven't seen it, I don't think I could really do it justice. But my favorite character in the thing is not the barefoot captain who likes to curl up in the captain's chair with a nice book. It is the flamboyant black gay pacifist Klingon, which I think, is it possible to have a character with more woke intersections than that? I don't think it is. But God forbid.
Is it possible to have a pacifistic Klingon? I don't think it is.
It is not. A Klingon like that would be killed in early adolescence, I believe.
Before then,
yeah, it would probably be a lot like Sparta. If they thought there was any chance of him being a flamboyant homosexual, they would just chuck him into the canyon and let him be eaten by the Klingon dogs, because that's what militaristic societies do, after all, is it not? But I guess I guess we just can't portray the Klingon civilization the same way it has been established in the last 40 years of Star Trek, because it wouldn't be progressive enough. So we have to have our Klingon character be a black homosexual who wears eyeshadow and enjoys bird watching. Am I making that up? I wish I was making that up, but alas, I am not. So, have you heard anything yet about the Mando movie?
Okay, I have a confession to make. Forgive me, Captain, for I have sinned. I am going tomorrow to watch the Mando Grogu movie. It's a
no
date,
shame in
me
that.
and my wife. There is
no shame in that, because if nothing else, you were going to get content out of it.
Okay, sure. You're not wrong there. Here's the reason why I got a bad taste in my mouth for the whole Mandalorian franchise. Just within, not just, I mean, Star Wars, yes, but specifically Mandalorian. The first season. The first season proves they know how to write. The second season proves they refuse to do it.
Yes, because the first season was outstanding.
Dude, they redid Kurosawa 7 different ways. They did George and the Dragon. They did, St. George, ain't it? They did all the classics, bro, in that one season. And I know that's kind of a cheeky tongue-in-cheek kind of, hey, but they did it so well.
Well, and there's even a lot of Sergio Leone in there, and the spaghetti westerns are a huge influence on that first season, and it works absolutely brilliantly. It's fantastic.
I couldn't remember his name, that's why I didn't call him out.
But we can't have nice things, I guess, especially not when Kathy Kennedy's in charge, because, I mean, we know what happened. The Mandalorian came out. They did the first season. Everybody was over the moon, loving it. They said, finally, here's some good Star Wars content that everybody likes. And then Kathy had to go sticking her little fingers in the pie, and little by little, it just, there started to be causes for concern, and the causes for concern got bigger. And then by the time you get to the end of the second season, it's, I know a lot of people liked the last episode of the second season. There are things about the second season that I like, but I think by the time they got to the end of it, we were just in a big grove of memba berries, just gorging ourselves on nostalgia.
It goes a little deeper than just the member berries of pop culture and Star Wars cinema. It goes deeper because they are straight up robbing words from previous authors in the extended universe. Dark Troopers, right? They're a thing. They're a thing. They are their own thing. That's not what they're described as, but kind of, sort of is, but not really. I guess it's culturally distinct, so it can't be copyrighted or something. I don't know.
And isn't that where the Darksaber comes from? And isn't that, as a matter of fact, where much of the Mandalorian civilization comes from, as far as what we know about it?
So the Darksaber, if you want to get into some deep lore on that one, it's something of a one-off mystery. It's a thing. Some people can carry it. Some people can wield it like a normal sword, and other people just cannot fucking get the handle of it. It just doesn't. It is impervious to damage, can hurt anything. It's essentially a solid lightsaber that you carry around because you really can't stick it in a scabbard or anything like that. It doesn't really work, right? So like you pokey things with it and things die. I mean, that's its only how they managed to put a handle on it. I'll never understand, but it's that thing. And so it became sort of like Mandalorian's Excalibur. It was what was the sign of transition after the helmet became the thing, because for a long time, the Mandalore was this one dude who ruled over the Mandalorian Empire, and he had, a handful of like little army units that run around doing stuff and keeping the peace and crap like that. But his most powerful function is he had something called the Mando 100. These are the 100 top tier operators in the galaxy. Every single one of these guys is equal or possibly better than Boba Fett. And here's the wild part about them. You want to talk about diversity and inclusion? Do you know how you become a Mandalorian? They find you as a child on the battlefield, having survived something that has killed your entire fucking city. And they go, hey, that kid's got the shit to be a Mandalorian. And they snatch you up and you're adopted. It don't matter if you're blind, crippled, or crazy. It don't matter what color you are. It don't matter if you got scales or whiskers. That don't matter. The fact that you have survived the haze of battle means that you have what it takes to be a Mandalorian, perhaps. And then they take you and they drag your ass home and they stick you in one of them coverts. And you learn what it is to be a Mandalorian by getting your shit kicked in on a daily basis by guys who've been trained to do it.
Yeah. And then, so we get to the end of the second season. A lot of people liked it because we had the appearance from Uncanny Valley young Luke Skywalker. And, yeah. Ooh. Then we get into season 3, and if I'm being honest, I don't really remember much of anything that happened in season 3. I just remember it sucks, and Gina Carano got fired, and then that was when a pretty huge majority of the audience just checked out and didn't commit anything more about the show to their mental memory banks. So it was a strange choice when they took what was going to be the 4th season of the show and said, well, let's just make it into a movie. And it seems pretty...
Put a woman in it and make it gay.
Put a chick in it, make it lame and gay. And I don't know if they put a woman in it. I guess you will find out tomorrow. You will have to get back to me on that one. But it has been so long. It's been about 4 years since that show really had any presence on the cultural landscape. So it wasn't difficult to prognosticate that it was going to have a hell of a tough time at the box office, whether it sucked or it didn't. It was pretty clear it was going to suck, but even if it was good, it probably would have struggled to come up with a good opening weekend, even though they gave it just about the graviest slot you possibly can. Memorial Day weekend. I guess we'll see how things turn out when tomorrow is over, but it's not going to look good for the studio. That's for damn sure. But the thing that has surprised me is that they don't even have the shilltastic movie critics from the mainstream media in the tank anymore, like they have ever since The Last Jedi. Because if you recall, The Last Jedi was really when we first saw that phenomenon of the critics just being absolutely in the tank for anything that Disney Star Wars did, because they wanted to maintain their access and keep getting little perks from the studio and keep getting invited to premieres and media events and whatnot. But that gas tank seems to have been exhausted now, because Last Jedi is 9 years ago. The week before that thing comes out, that was the most rhapsodic bit of nipple rubbing that we have ever seen from the shilltastic mainstream movie critic press, because they were telling us this is the absolute best Star Wars picture ever. They were just over the moon. It is the absolute best thing that's ever been in this universe. It's going to revolutionize filmmaking. Rian Johnson is a giant balloon-headed
I have
genius.
a question.
Go ahead.
How the fuck are you supposed to identify some shit from a dagger on a coastline that's being constantly eroded by massive storm surges? And how is it not fucking obvious that it's in the goddamn Death Star that's sitting there?
Yeah,
couldn't you scan that motherfucker from orbit and be like, bloop, bloop, bloop. Oh, there's a big chunk of Death Star down there. That's where it is. And you know what? You're fucking right.
Yeah, The Rise of Skywalker was a real piece of work, wasn't it? And the dagger thing, how are you supposed to take that seriously? You get the feeling that there's no oversight going on here, that they have written the script and they are going to go shoot what's in the script, and nobody has picked up the script and read through the script and said, wait, this is fucking stupid. We shouldn't do she happens to be standing on the exact right part of the coastline. and looking at the stupid dagger in the exact right way and from the exact right angle. And how did she know she was supposed to do this anyway? Well, I guess that's a rhetorical question because she is Rey and she knows how to do everything. But still, it's fucking stupid.
It's the Force, man. All right, so here's what I hope happens. Here's what I'm praying and hoping happens. In the Star Wars universe, there is a group of beings referred to as the Whills. These beings are, depending on who you talk to, either a race of super intelligent people who have elevated beyond the material, or planetary type intellects that are existing on one planet in order to have friends. Either way, they have this thing that they do every now and then when they come across a serious nexus of the Force where they can't see past a specific point. They will literally create a artificial Force simulation with every living thing in the galaxy represented and play it out to see what might happen. And then they do that a quadrillion, billion, million times. Sort of like Doctor Strange fighting, right?
I was just going to make that reference. And isn't there a fan theory that says Yoda is one of the Whills?
It's I mean, yes. And that's the thing is, like, they're not necessarily a particular species. They're just individuals amongst the galaxy that have become some potent in the Force that they have sort of super navigated the living world. They are no longer a part of living and dying. They are now part of the Force, and often they're all found together on this particular planet that you can't find because they don't want you to. They literally alter it. They're not on the map, right?
John,
they're that powerful.
Go ahead. John brings up an interesting question, and it's something I was going to mention as part of the Kathy Kennedy Disney Star Wars post-mortem, that she was not out the door for 5 minutes before they went into whatever the Star Wars land is called at Disneyland, Galaxy's Edge, something like that. Doesn't matter.
Right.
But they went in there and absolutely scrubbed that place of any evidence of the sequel trilogy and brought in all the original trilogy characters that people actually like. And that had to be intended as a backward slap to Kathy, that they waited not even 30 seconds after she was gone but before they scrubbed the place of all evidence of her tenure, which for people like us, it's kind of fun to laugh at. But as far as the question of how much money they have lost, that's I don't know, that's probably incalculable when you factor in, especially what was it called, the stupid hotel, what was the hotel thing called, the Galaxy Cruiser or some shit like that, like,
yeah, something like that,
$5,000 a night hotel where you just have to be around a bunch of I don't know what people were expecting to get. Go ahead.
He went on one of those cruiser things where all of the rooms are like set up to be some part of a set somewhere in a ship or something like that. And he said that two things. First of all, he's a really old guy, and he was never really a Star Wars fan, and it was always the kids and grandkids that were real big into it. And he had a timeshare, so he's like, "Fuck it, we'll go." Right? You either use it or lose it, and so he went during that time period. And he said there was one thing that was really cool, because you got to remember a lot of this was through that COVID and post-COVID period. He's like, there was nobody there. He's like, we get down there and the whole freaking hotel is completely empty, and we get to wander around freely all over this spaceship that's like 10 different spaceships, but it's also just this one spaceship from outside, and you can go to all the places like that you see in the movies. He's like, there's that one desert spot, and there's the water planet, and there's the other place with all the white guys in armor. And I was like, I hear you, bud.
Yeah, I watched a couple of travelogue videos from Star Wars YouTubers who went and stayed at the place, and it looked like the most goddamn depressing thing I ever saw in my life. And I just can't conceive of paying the amounts of money that they were charging for that horse shit and actually being satisfied with what I got afterwards.
You know what I see being their biggest mistake?
What's that?
So for years, Disney cartoons and properties, generally speaking, were driven towards children and young adults. They transitioned back to post Bob Iger from Disney children to Disney adults. They were going after the actual breadwinners rather than the children of the breadwinners, and in so doing, they've lost a generation, maybe two. They didn't look forward.
And it's
hold on,
it's
I'm not
really,
done.
Go ahead.
The problem is you hook those Disney adults as children. You don't need to work them over any harder. You can't make more of them. The only way to make more Disney adults, breadwinners spending money on your products, is to be children's stuff again. Wholesome, virtuous. I mean, Hans Christian Andersen isn't exactly the most virtuous source, but at the same time, at least it was done in a artistic and rendered fashion, you know?
Right. And the trouble with, granted, there might be short-term gains in turning all of your marketing energies toward cultivating the phenomenon of the Disney adult, because that is a phenomenon now. And they are the weirdest people in the whole wide world. Why am I echoing?
Oh, no.
What's wrong?
Oh, okay, fine. All right, let's see if my camera's working now.
There we go.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, I've got a 130-pound bull mastiff that is scared of thunder. And when it thunders, he comes and he gets under my desk. And he's bigger than the hole that's under my desk, and I've got wires in the hole under my desk, and so he was under it just now, and the thunder rolled, and he decided he wanted to go hide behind Mama and jumped up and ran. But there's not enough room for a 130-pound mastiff to stand up under the desk, so the whole thing just lifted up, dropped back down. It was like kaboom.
But as I was saying, and I don't want to forget the rest of it, but the trouble with cultivating those Disney adults is that the Disney adults who are the most enthusiastic and who are spending the most money are almost exclusively childless. And that's just not going to help you transition to the next generation when the current Disney adults either stop being Disney adults, or when they die of old age or whatever. You're still going to have a pretty big hole in the youth market, especially when normal people are really a lot more reticent about exposing their children to Disney products than they used to be, because Disney has become basically, in many respects, a child grooming syndicate in recent years, where they just want to queer and trans your kids and expose them to non-normative sexualities, and rather than wholesome family entertainment, which is how they built their entire reputation. But we know how this old deal works. We just, the wokesters have to find brands with lots of customer trust and good reputations built up over decades, hollow it out into a convincing skin suit, and then just wrap themselves up into it and make it a vehicle for woke progressivism. And I wonder if we will see. I think we're probably certain to see them dial that back to some extent under the new CEO, but I wonder how noticeable and how swift it's going to happen, because the most nervous people of all are probably the big shareholders right now, because they're probably don't want to lose money anymore. Nobody wants to lose money, but especially if you have it invested in a company that is supposed to be a reliable earner that can never go wrong, and it's been made to go wrong.
I'd like to do a shout out to Hippie Auditor. He went through, what was it, a double or triple bypass like day before yesterday, and he was up streaming yesterday.
Damn.
And that man is an absolute unit. And I want to say this. It's a very dangerous procedure, but at the same time, you're pink, bro. You're pink. the very second I laid eyes on you, I said that man needs to go for a walk. That man, you just got you a triple bypass. He just got him a brand new lease on life, bro. That shit was killing him.
Well
It's a
done,
beautiful
sir,
thing.
and we wish you a full and complete recovery, which it looks like you're making. Just try not to overdo it. Is all I'm saying.
Just stay right there doing as little as possible for the next week or two. Let that shit
Yep.
seal up and get right. Take all your fucking
Yep.
meds and don't be a jerk about things. I know you got this. You good.
And no reason to be a badass. Even if you are a badass, we know you're a badass. Don't need to prove it to us.
Right? Absolutely. But I went and got a little thing for you, bud.
Oh, nice.
Ha.
Here it comes. Pay attention.
Wait a second. I got the wrong video. This is a bunch of still frames. You need a better producer.
What a wonderful still frame.
That was pretty good, though. See if I can figure this out. I'm trying to get one that's not off the India Today.
Good play, my
One
friend.
India News.
We always shout out the badass wives because they are the badass shoulders upon whom we stand, after all.
All right, I think I got this. Let's try this one more again. And that's about as good as it gets there, brother. We want to see the dance. We'll do the dance.
Yeah.
I like the dance. Okay.
How can you not like AI when AI can do stuff like that?
I still say that the purpose of AI is to put Nicolas Cage in every role in every movie ever.
Oh shit! That
I
reminds me.
want you to
of-
imagine the never-ending story with Nicolas Cage playing Atreyu and the childlike Empress and Falcor and the Stone Guardian and the Nothing and the Fox Creature.
Speaking of Nicolas Cage, I'm reminded that I was planning on checking out Spider Noir this weekend because I've heard pretty good things about it. Have you checked it out?
I haven't even looked cross-eyed at that one because Spider Noir as a character in the comics was always a very niche product, if you will. It's specifically set to that whole mid-20s, 30s gumshoe Sam Slade era of noir gangsterism. And it really doesn't transition out of that at all, ever well. So I just didn't expect it.
If not for Nicolas Cage, I probably wouldn't give it a second thought. But because it's Nicolas Cage, that makes me want to check it out. That's the power of Cage.
As weird as Nicolas Cage is and has always been, I am a huge fan of his work. Face Off, a lot of people give that movie a bunch of smoke, but I absolutely loved it. The whole concept was freaking just masterfully done. What was
Because,
that other movie?
Remind me again when they brought out all of the alternate versions of Spider-Man, including Spider Noir. Wasn't that in the Into the Spider-Verse movie? And that's where Nicolas Cage first played the Spider Noir character. I recall watching that and thinking they should give that fucker his own show with that character. I'm glad somebody listened. I love it when they listen to me. So since it was, go ahead.
It would be cool. I mean, see, that's kind of the thing. He makes a good point. Ghost Rider. Nicolas Cage is Ghost Rider.
Yes.
Unfortunately, at this point, that is kind of a ship that has sailed. So as far as the Marvel Universe is concerned, Johnny Cage is Johnny Blaze is Nicolas Cage. So,
and you know what's regrettable about that is I think he would have been a pretty good Ghost Rider if they had given him anything resembling a decent script to work with.
Okay, yes, absolutely. The scripts were trash. They were really bad. They were terrible adaptations of lots of different shit from different comics all over the map, which is one of the reasons it didn't transition well. But
I
the
even thought-
actual fucking dialogue in those movies makes
Oh, I
me
know.
want to drag a fucking shoe sole full of tacks across my tongue until I can't taste it anymore.
I even thought Peter Fonda as Mephisto was a good bit of casting. You could keep both of those casting choices and upgrade the script, and I think there might have been a pretty good movie in there somewhere.
I'll tell you another good use for AI. Spawn. You can't do a Malbolgia with CGI without going deep into the uncanny valley. I mean, how do you pull off Malbolgia?
Oh, speaking of AI and digital prosthetics and uncanny valleys, have you seen the Otoy Star Trek short films? The unification, the last one is called 867357 unification, something like that. It's have you seen those? Because if you have, I kind of wonder what your thoughts were. And I guess we could
Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
Okay, I got it.
It's they pretty much digitally reanimated young Shatner and Nimoy to give Kirk and Spock the send off that they never got in the films. And
we obviously can't. 8675309.
yeah, there it is. I see it down there.
I'm not going to bring that up.
We'd get nuked from outer space if we tried to play it. But
this is really high quality. It's straight from their studio site. So no. But,
yeah, and
it looks good.
And there is I want to say there's still just a tiny bit of uncanny valley, but the way they've gone about it is kind of interesting and unprecedented and not really full on AI in the way that we think about AI, because we think of AI generally as just, a 100% computer generated deep fake. But in this case, with these films, they had Sam Witwer playing Shatner, playing Kirk, however you want to put it, and Sam Witwer who's been in like every science fiction property of the last 20 years. And they had Lawrence Selleck, I believe, playing Spock. And I was watching some of the behind the scenes stuff, and they were saying that, really most of it we accomplished with practical prosthetics and makeup and hair and the way we would have done it traditionally. And the Kirk performance really is 90% Sam Witwer and the makeup artists and the hair guy and the wardrobe guy and what have you. And there was really just a little bit of a gap we had to get over, and that's all we.
So that's
look at that.
Very good.
That is Lawrence Selleck, not Leonard Nimoy.
That is very good. The ears are a bit weird, but
yeah, there is.
I got no hate for that.
I have no hate for it either, and I feel like when you do it correctly, like the way these guys did it, because they kept the computer generated imagery down to as little as they possibly could, and I think it shows in the final product, as you can see on the screen. Because would it ever occur to you to look at that shot and say that it's not either actually Leonard Nimoy or an AI deepfake of Leonard Nimoy? Because I never would. And the fact that they accomplished it using.
All right, hold on.
Ahead.
There's a little bit here. Right around the mouth area, it's a little too smooth for reality. I know you probably can't see it on your phones at home, but it's not bad though. They even included some of the neck wrinkles in the neck, right? Like, it's good stuff.
And it's the same with the Kirk portrayal. There are certain moments where you can still feel a hint of an uncanny valley, but there are other moments where it's absolutely dead on perfect, and it's freaking amazing to witness what they've achieved. And it's even better since it's all fully authorized, by the Roddenberry estate and the Paramount people and all the people whose authorizations you need to get. So it's not like it's a it's a pirate fan production thing. And man, when you read the comments on those videos, it's like it changed people's lives. People just, oh, tears streaming down my face. I can't believe how affected I was by this. I have watched Star Trek YouTubers watch this thing and just turn into blubbering little children. It meant that much to them. And it didn't mean quite that much to me. I did find it impressive, though. I think it was a good and worthwhile idea, trying to give Kirk and Spock, those two characters, the send-off that they probably should have had in the movies and regrettably never received. And they, obviously, as you were just showing, they portray each of them. And that's one of the parts where I can't quite put my finger on it, but little tiny uncanny valley still, it's like 95% of the way there. But some of the other shots, they don't feel that way. It would never occur to me that it wasn't actually 50-year-old William Shatner or whatever age he was when he did Generations. He always seems to be older than he looks, even now at age 95.
That man's been to space.
Yeah, I watched Star Trek 6 today. I haven't watched that in a while. God,
which one's that?
One.
Hold on.
And you know what makes that my favorite Star Trek movie is goddamn Christopher Plummer as a Klingon doing Shakespeare.
Oh yes.
Oh my God. That's
God. No, that's not right. This is exceptionally good, brother. Like,
I know.
This is really, really good.
And they got Robin Curtis back to play Saavik, and they are implying also that she and Spock had a son when they were doing the Ponfar boogie on the Genesis planet, which I guess was a story element that was supposed to be in. I guess it was actually in the script of Star Trek 4, but it didn't make it into the final edit.
I think they shot it.
Yeah, I think they might have shot it, and that's because it's kind of confusing when you watch the theatrical cut of the movie why Saavik remains on Vulcan and doesn't come back to Earth with the rest of the crew. And I guess that's the explanation, is that she was staying back to have Spock's little Spocklet, and
right.
And it's a pretty big story.
Okay,
element.
hold on.
Go ahead.
I'm going to risk 3 seconds of this.
Fingers crossed.
All right, so I want you to notice the stance Homeboy is standing in.
I know.
That's that uncanny valley shit I'm talking about. It's not much.
Yeah.
There's not much in there, but when you see it, it's glaring.
But the physical performance, I think you can tell he put a lot of time and effort into getting Shatner's mannerisms and gait as exactly right as he possibly could. And he had to do it in several different periods, because there's that one sequence in the tunnel, or whatever you want to, where there's 3 versions of Kirk. There's the original series Kirk, and then the Star Trek 2 Kirk, and finally the Star Trek Generations version of Kirk, who has just died, and that's the main version that we follow through that version of Kirk, who is the one that we mainly follow through the proceedings. And like that shot right there, no uncanny valley for me. I think that's
why I chose it. It's excellent.
Yeah,
he's aged. There's the little shallow spots under the eyes. There's all the little mouth wrinkles. All of the forehead's a little too smooth, but at the same time, I don't get the impression that Kirk worries about a lot. So
yeah, and
he just makes a decision and ships fall where they may, man.
Oh, people wanting to talk about the Odyssey, but before we
transition.
Before we close out talking about this, or the hell with it, we can talk about it later. Let's get straight to the Odyssey. Do we approve of a Black Helen of Troy and a girl Achilles? Discuss.
Okay. No. Just, I don't. All right. So the Helen of Troy bit. No, she wasn't black. I mean, we have busts and paintings of this woman. It's not like she's completely unrepresented. We have like 36 literal descriptions of this woman's beauty because people traveled across the Mediterranean to go to court to lay eyes on her like a fucking pop star. Like every time she held court, it was to a sold out audience that didn't buy tickets.
Yeah. And the first question we have to ask always in cases of racial stunt casting, and we've had this conversation before about House of the Dragon when they race swapped the entire Velaryon family into being black, that does this race swap serve the narrative in an interesting way, or is it just racial stunt casting? And
it is in this case, it is simply
Yeah.
racial stunt casting.
And in the case of House of the Dragon, even though I still don't approve of it and still don't think it should be done, there is a certain aspect where it serves the narrative in a potentially interesting way, as we've talked about before, because it makes it all the more obvious to any external observers that Rhaenyra's kids really are bastards because they should be half black and they are quarter black, and they very much are not. So you could.
I didn't even think about it that way. You're right.
Yeah. So there is some level on which you can argue that race swap actually serves the narrative in a potentially interesting way. But a black Helen of Troy does not. A female transgender Achilles does not. How am I supposed to take any film seriously where Elliot Page plays Achilles? I'm sorry, I can't do that. I just cannot do that. And the other problem you run into when you start playing the racial stunt casting game is you can never get intersectional enough to fully satisfy the woke rage mob that you were trying to appease in the first place with the racial stunt casting. Because you know why? A story comes out today from some Greek advocacy group that says, well, you tried to make this movie so diverse and so inclusive, but it's got no Greek people in it, and you're adapting a work of Greek mythology. So what the hell is actually happening here? And I think it's a fair question to ask. You know, you are adapting history's most famous work of Greek mythology, and it never even occurred to you to put any Greek people in it. You were so busy putting black Africans and transgenders in it that you didn't even think, maybe I'll throw in a token Greek. How do you do that, Christopher Nolan? I thought you were one of the good ones, Christopher Nolan, and now you're just doing the same shit that everybody else does. You're too good for that, Christopher Nolan. What are we doing here, man?
You were supposed to bring balance to the Force, not leave it in darkness. I got something for you here, bro.
Okay.
Just for us.
Offers his respect, ma'am. All he asks is that Sparta kneels a simple bow and your people will be spared.
Don't call me ma'am.
My apologies, miss. Xerxes is generous. He only wants your loyalty. Surely even a delicate thing like yourself can understand that.
I said don't f***ing misgender me.
Ma'am, calm down. No need to get emotional.
It is so!
This is just too good.
Dude, now I want Dylan Mulvaney to really be in the movie.
Kinda. Okay.
They can drink some Bud Lights on the boat.
You hear that, right?
Whoa, what's this? Oh, God.
Bro, this is what AI is for. This
Oh,
is
no.
exactly what AI is for.
Guys, look.
I don't even mind YouTube being taken over by AI slop as long as it's good AI slop. This is the kind of AI slop I approve of. Curmudgeon's thumbs up for this kind of AI slop. I am in favor of it.
Agreed. Hold on. Let's find out who this guy is. I just kind of picked him at Alex Asoon. I assume he's going to copyright the shit out of us. So here we go.
Yeah, probably. They usually do.
Whatever it is, he deserves it. Fuck it. This is pretty good.
Oh, I know.
That's savage. That's so savage.
Oh, Tropic Thunder. Good call. Oh,
Oh
dude.
my God.
Oh,
Tut,
dude.
tut. Do that thing immediately. I'll be waiting for the email. I've got it open right over here. Like that thing that you just said. Do something.
Oh,
I
man.
don't care what it is. What scene should it be though?
And who would you cast?
No, I'm talking about putting Elliot Page in a scene from Tropic Thunder as Simple Jack, maybe.
Do you put her in blackface and have her play the Downey role? 'Cause I would,
Dude, that's the scene. That's exactly the scene you do. Do
they got to get
Elliot
Black
Page.
George Washington to come in and do the damn voiceover for that character.
Nah, man, you do the scene where he says, "I'm a dude, pretended to be a dude, pretended to be another dude." That's the scene.
Oh, I know. You could
Elliot Page doing that.
you could make that line go on forever.
Only if you get her to say, "I'm pretending to be a dude, pretending to be another dude."
I'm a chick pretending to be a dude, pretending to be another dude. But you got to say it black. Ain't gonna mean nothing unless you say it black.
What do you mean, you people?
Who is you calling you people?
I cannot believe this casting. This is going.
Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. Throwing Dylan Mulvaney in there is just hilarious.
All right. I got a full list of Kirk Lazarus quotes here. I know who I am. I'm the dude playing the dude, disguised as another dude. And then there's
So
the
in this
famous,
case, the quote would
I know who
actually
I
be,
am. I'm a chick,
chick.
playing a
Yeah.
dude, disguised as another dude. Everybody knows you never go full retard.
There's
Dustin
a-
Hoffman, Rain Man, look retarded, act retarded, not retarded. You went full retard, man. Never go full retard. Same thing done happened to me when I played Neil Armstrong in Moonshot. They done found me in an alley in Burbank trying to re-enter the Earth's atmosphere in an old refrigerator box.
what is this one? This Philadelphia? What is this one?
Oh, what is that one?
Oh, it's Spider-Man.
Oh, nice.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh at female abuse.
Oh God! Now my mind's just spinning trying to think of movie scenes to put Elliot Page in.
Oh God, please do, please, dear God, do. And in one of them, have her ask for money for us, like straight out of like the kill scene, directly into pitching, like a carnival barker.
Or if you really wanted to get freaky with it, you could have Elliot Page go back and play former Ellen Page characters, like you could.
Hard Candy. No, that's not it. What's the
Oh
one?
yes, absolutely. Hard Candy, Juno.
Juno, that's the one. The pregnant one. Juno, that's the one.
Yep.
Crazy good.
Man to man, I shall be the victor.
Ellen Page, big masculinity, right?
Also, Super.
What's that?
We need to redo Super, especially the rape scene, the scene where she rapes Rainn Wilson, because that. Now that she says she's a dude and always has been a dude, that scene becomes pretty goddamn problematic, if you ask me, because I don't think that rape scene really works unless one of the parties has a vagina, is all I'm saying. But they've gone back and redone the credits on all of her former movies to say that she was really a dude at the time. So there's all kinds of uncomfortable situations that get created by that, because I'm sorry, you weren't a dude.
Dude, I got it. I got the most ultimate AI scene ever.
Lay it on.
I want someone out there to put Elliot Page in the Juno role, arguing with Arnold Schwarzenegger in his junior role. Yes. I'm not sure which two scenes you'd clip together to make that work, but it has to fucking exist. There's no universe in which that is not a beautiful scene.
Yeah, we could make an entire industry out of this.
I mean, I'm not busy Tuesday. If you want to get together and throw down some groundwork on this shit, like, I can throw ideas. I throw spaghetti at the wall all day, bro.
I mean, Elliot Page as Rocky Balboa is probably one of the ones I would have thought of, so I'm glad somebody thought of it before I did. What about...
That's a good one, too.
Yeah. What about... Did they already do Elliot Page in Predator?
I kind of want to hear her trying to do the Adrian yell. Adrian!
Adrian! I did it!
Yeah. AI.
Good one.
Come on. It's not budging. Why won't you open?
It's the Andrew Wilson clip.
Just open. Come on.
How about Elliot Page?
Oh my God.
Oh, Elliot Page is Lawrence of Arabia.
There are a few good lines in that one. But dear God, I wouldn't want to besmirch the performance delivered by what's his fuck?
Peter
It
O'Toole.
was great. Peter O'Toole, thank you. I drew a total blank at the end of that sentence.
Oh, I got a better one. Elliot Page is Dirty Harry. Magnum Force.
Ever pull the trigger, go flying off into the fucking distance, and the bullet stays there and she flies away.
I want to hear her do every single famous Dirty Harry line there ever was.
Do you feel lucky, punk? Well, do you?
This is ridiculous. Just open, you stubborn thing. I can't.
KO.
This idea was also explored in a book called Black Athena. I think people should read it, which...
Are you familiar with that book?
Yes. Well, I haven't read it. I have a vague understanding of what it's about.
I tried to read it, and it's essentially an Afrocentric purview of the Hellenistic world as though it had sprung from Africa and not from Greece.
I think the only people who read it were Black Cleopatra, Black Anne Boleyn, and Black Queen Charlotte.
No, Black George Washington read it, but he said it was trash and we shouldn't pay attention. No shit like that.
Damn right, that book was trash.
You goddamn right, that book was trash. That's pretty good. I like that.
Argues that classical Greek culture is heavily indebted to Afro-Asiatic and Near Eastern roots. I actually taught Greek mythology to 8th graders.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. Shut the fuck up, you fucking stupid cunt.
I will agree with the statement that you were in the same room with 8th graders. I don't believe you taught them anything. Mr. Mom is a great film, and I will brook no disagreement on that.
What about?
You ever see Mr. Bob?
Oh yeah, of course.
It's great.
I remember. I remember when they first announced the casting of Michael Keaton to play Batman, and everybody said, "You're gonna have fucking Mr. Mom play Batman? You're serious right now?"
I hear you. No, I heard that shit too, and I was one of those guys who went, "Oh no, he's gonna fucking kill it. He's gonna kill it, bro, because he's Batman."
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I still don't like those movies as much as everybody else seems to, but he's not the problem. He did fine.
No, he's not the problem. Those movies in that time period were specifically designed by Tim Burton to appear to be directly out of the comic book panels that they were derived from. And while it was an interesting artistic choice, in the long haul, I don't think it aged well. But at the time, they were huge, bro.
What
I
about?
gotta get this woman off the screen. Yeah, no, I will, however, listen to that clip.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything.
Once again.
Anything resembling the truth. Hold up, this guy's great. Have you seen this dude?
And the view completely ridiculed itself.
All right, well, it's 2026 and casting for movies is more of a business decision than an art decision. And even though this strategy has been disproven like 10 years ago, it's still gonna take us like 20 years to figure it out. What strategy? Thank you for asking. The strategy that if you wanna get gay and Asian and black and white people to watch your movie, you don't actually need to cast gay and Asian and black and white people so they feel represented. You just need to make a good movie. All right, yeah, we still don't get that yet. The audience has made it pretty f***ing clear by now that all they care about is good content. They don't really care about political correctness and representation and casting, especially if that political correctness or representation and casting comes at the expense of authenticity or quality of the movie. Exactly, but since we care more about the advertisers and the customers, f*** them. All right, let's get into it.
It's way too on the nose, bro.
Nah, let's just have a black Helena Troy. It'll be fine. Everybody will love it. I'm Christopher Nolan. I can get away with it. Wrong. Sorry, Chris. You have overestimated your own reputation.
Right.
All right, do we have any women representation in the movie? Yes, Anne Hathaway. Beautiful. That probably makes up for any bad female casting we have. All right, moving on. Charlize Theron. Awesome. But seriously, you can stop. Mia Goth. Please stop. Zendaya. God damn it. Black representation. Yes. Lupita. I said black, not Mexican, but we could probably use some of that. She is black. Really? Lupita? What's her last name? I'm not even gonna try.
I'm not trying that.
Oh, okay. She's black. Oh, okay. Excellent. I was thinking the most beautiful woman of all time, but then I thought the most beautiful woman of all time probably doesn't have hair. It's too bad this Lupita chick has hair. You're gonna love what I have to tell you. Men. Boo. Boo. Right. But
So what he says, Rowan with this casting. What was Christopher Nolan thinking?
This movie should feel cinematic, larger than life, and instead it already feels weirdly.
It should feel mythic. There is nothing mythic here.
Personally, I was hoping they were going to have Brie Larson play Helen of Troy.
I wouldn't have crashed as bad as those casting they did.
The non-existent flat ass that launched 1,000 ships. It just rolls right off the page.
You know, I don't even have a problem with the Black Medusa, to be honest. I mean, I know, but I know. I get it.
Modernized, emotionally flat. We have the expected DEI, race swaps.
This is the stupidest, most asinine I've ever seen. And I was born in Greece. But if we're going to rewrite history into this debacle, then certainly this should be allowed.
Wait, can
Ryan Gosling.
Can we expand this? Go ahead.
Ryan Gosling.
But if we're going to rewrite history into this debacle, then certainly this.
Ryan Gosling as Barack Obama.
Yes. Oh, this fall, Jake Gyllenhaal is Martin Luther King. Co-star Paul Rudd as Jesse Jackson. And then we can remake Roots with an all-Icelandic cast.
Right? Garth Brooks is... Kunta Kinte.
Glenn Powell as Chuck Berry.
And this week, Louis Armstrong is played by Elliot Page.
Yes. No, I want to expand the Elliot Page thing to television, and I'm saying Elliot Page in Knight Rider.
Actually, since the car was the badass in that, it might work.
It might work.
The problem is Hollywood's obsession with filtering every classic story through current ideological trends and contemporary.
We all know this. Chill out. Wait, did you see that? What are those?
What are those?
Why is he wearing a Squidward meme helm? It's like Hot Squidward.
Elliot Page as Robert E. Lee. Is that Miss Rachel?
Rushback. Pushback.
She's a fucking crazy bitch.
Yeah,
She looks like Miss Rachel.
I'm totally skipping it. She's bird handing at me. Oh, I like her. You know her? What's her name? Amila?
They say in Hollywood, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a race swapper.
Race swapper.
Man, I'm
nice. Accurate. What an excellent casting choice. I wonder who came up with that. I'm utterly amazed. It's definitely going to get an Oscar this year.
It's interesting to note, I think, on the matter of racial stunt casting, that nobody ever really attempts a substantive defense of it. The people who are in favor of it, they don't really make any attempt to articulate why it might serve the material in a new or an interesting or a worthwhile way. All they do is attack the moral character of the people who have a problem with it. And I think that says a lot. When it is all about the ad hominem and all about attacking people for having a viewpoint that is pretty commonplace and pretty reasonable, but if that viewpoint is wrong, if it's wrong to say that racial stunt casting is stupid and not worthwhile and pointless and just meant to inflame the loins of dumb wokesters, then there should be a counterpoint to that argument. But we never hear any sort of counterpoint. We just hear personal attacks. You're an istophobe. You're this kind of a bigot. You're that kind of a bigot. Well, if you've got a problem with a black Helen of Troy, then you must be racist. That's the only angle you ever get out of people who are in favor of this madness. And I'll grant you, it's less offensive doing this with a fictional character, even though we're talking about archetypes of Greekness and Greek civilization and Greek culture. It is still less offensive than swapping out actual historical figures like Cleopatra, like Anne Boleyn, like Queen Charlotte. we've been all through the list before. The BBC used to make really good historical period dramas. They are incapable of making one now where they don't race swap some actual historical figure from British history into a black chick. And it's always a black chick. It's never a black dude. They don't race swap black dudes, which I think is a fascinating part of the phenomenon. Don't you think?
So this is okay. This is an interesting intersectional gender swapping thing. This is not just gender, not just race, but this is culture swapping is what it comes down to. They are literally doing what they say they hate. They are colonizing Greek culture with their own ideals.
Yeah, it's colonialism and cultural appropriation. You are correct. It is the very same things they claim to be opposed to above all other things, which I guess the snake always consumes its own tail in the end, doesn't it?
Yeah, the left eats
Selling novel by
themselves.
Homer. No, I mean nothing looks like classic Greece. And the trailers, the armor looks.
Cylons. Why do they fucking look like Cylons?
Elliot Page is Commander William Adama.
Da da da. Jesus. I can't look at any more of that. It makes my heart hurt.
Elliot Page is Han Solo.
You know what it's going to do, though? I guarantee you. People are going to watch part of this fucking movie and turn it off and go watch Troy.
They probably will.
That's what's going to happen. And after they watch Troy, they'll watch the first Gladiator and hate the second one. Have you seen the second Gladiator?
I tried to watch it and couldn't make it. I think I probably got through the first act, maybe. I just couldn't stand it.
Rome is basically depicted as Hollywood, which I thought was very interesting choice.
Uh-huh.
I thought that was a very interesting choice because that's basically showing that they understand what they're doing, and they're not hiding.
And once again, it is Hollywood trying to colonize ancient history and trying to culturally appropriate.
It's the full retcon.
It is, yeah, yep. And they think they are doing something that is morally praiseworthy, which is probably the most bizarre thing of all.
Right. Oh
because how
God,
does right. Help me understand how this makes the world a better place is all I'm wondering. And I think we're perfectly entitled to wonder that and get an explanation for it without being shouted down as bigots and istophobes. Because if that's your only defense, I'm sorry, you don't have a very good argument.
There's no argument there at all. The only reason they made this movie was for the rage bait value of it. It will get a lot of clicks, and it will get a lot of memes, and it will get a lot of hate, and that can translate into profit if you can drive it hard enough. I mean, look at the Sydney Sweeney ad, the most hated ad in American history, sold more jeans than Levi's.
Yeah. And could you even conceive of like only 12 or 15 years ago that people would actually look at that little jeans commercial and say it was Nazi propaganda? You couldn't have even made that up. But now it's the way half of the world is just conditioned to react to things. And that's madness.
Just ask Drew Barrymore.
Is it time to do the thing already? Gosh, we were having so much fun making every movie star Elliot Page. I kind of want to play this game all week, if I'm being honest. But since we have to go, since it's the end of the show, I will instead say, ladies and gentlemen, thank you ever so much for joining us here on the Blast Radius tonight. We sure had an excellent time. I hope you had an outstanding time too. Hope everybody has a wonderfully edifying Memorial Day tomorrow. We obviously doff our caps to everybody who gave the last full measure of devotion in service of our country. We remember their service and their sacrifice always, never to be forgotten. Have a great remainder of your week. We will see you back here next Sunday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, as we always do. See you later. Do not comply. Get off my lawn.